What's up, everybody? Welcome back to 876 United Facts TV. And I know it's been a couple of hours, ladies and gentlemen, since the 2-1 loss to Brighton. So we'll just analyze the game that transpired today. So at this time, just like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're getting straight into it. Alright, let's go. Boy, oh boy. Same old, same old. Disappointed again. But let me just start off with a positive. Ladies and gentlemen, do not get ahead of yourselves, right? Be patient. Because this manager is a system-based manager and he is a perfectionist, as well as he is an enforcer of what he would like in his team. So for that basis, let us not jump the gun, all right? Let us be patient with the manager. So I don't want to hear anybody out there saying, all right, oh, Ten Hag is not good. Same old, same old. No, all right? He's still getting to know the players and so on and so forth. So let us not go in on our new manager. Now, let us get into the players. And for the most recent of times, ladies and gents, the issue at Manchester United has been our players. Yes, we can argue that Solskjaer was not a good coach, so to speak. And Ragnick is known to be a team builder, not necessarily a coach. He's more of a technical or general director, the person who does the recruitment and who really builds the club on a wholesome standpoint. So, Ten Hag, to me, based on his track record, is the best thing since, I would argue, Jose Mourinho. Alright, now let's get into the players. Now, firstly, it was a team that very much so reflects the previous season, right? The only difference is that Pogba is replaced by Eriksen, so to speak. But it's a similar setup in some regards. So it was evident that, McTominay and Fred were the pairing in our midfield. I mean, McTominay was the more advanced of the two. The back line, Luke Shaw, Lisandro Martinez, Maguire, and Diogo Dalot. Now, for me, I am not going to say that I have an agenda for some of these players, but I am very hard on these players because of what they did last season. So for me, I am very harsh on Maguire, Rashford, just to name a few, and Bruno in recent months. Now, let's get straight into why that is. Alright, so David De Gea, I would say that to me, he didn't really have a good game, but at the same time, it wasn't a bad game. It wasn't one of those games where David had one of those simple mistakes that led to a soft goal. Now, the goals came from crosses, a crosses goal, and then players tapped in the ball, right? So for me, I wouldn't go too much in on David because persons can argue that he parried the ball in the direction for the person to get the rebound, but sometimes it happens, right? However, let's talk about our defenders. Lisandro Martinez, I think that he had an average game. He didn't have a poor game. He looked like the better for two centre-backs in my opinion. He was aggressive, he was good on the ball, which we all know he is from Ajax, and so on and so forth, And persons always criticize since his signing that he's too small and he can't manage the physicality of the Premier League. But I think based on his track record and based on what we have seen at Ajax, I believe that he can handle the league. He just needs time to adjust and a good partner. Now, a lot of people may think that I have a Harry Maguire agenda, but I don't. You see, because he was one of the players that were very disappointing last season. You know, I am not going to be very easy on him. No, mark you. Why the goal scoring us today is because, remember, our manager has a playing style that requires our defensive line to play high. And countless times in the game, it was evident that Harry Maguire is not suited for that, right? I mean, other than those things that occurred in the game, we can say that, all right, he had an average game, right? He traditionally, Harry Maguire's weakness is not really passing out from the back. It's just everything else. You know, being alert, being assertive, being, you know, ready when teams are attacking quickly. That has always been his issue. And also, he has a tendency to be having a mistake in him anytime in the game. The lack of focus. Right? So that has been the problem of Harry Maguire. And there's a certain level of aggression that is required of a centre-back that I don't think Harry Maguire possesses. Right? So that has been his issue for me, and that has been evident again today. I would rather to play a pairing, a centre-back pairing of Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane, because I think they would complement each other. Now, our wing-backs, now Luke Shaw, I don't know if it's because he was ill, you know, in the latter stages of the pre-season campaign. Now, it was quite evident that, you know, he didn't have a good game today. You know, normally Luke Shaw is energetic, bursting up and down the pitch, you know, on the defensive and the attacking end of the football field. Didn't see much of that today, you know, as well as he made a lot of errors relating to how the goals were conceded, not being aware of the players around him, not closing down the players. It happens, but this happens too often. So let's see if Tyrell Malacia will be integrated in the squad anytime soon. Now, Diogo Dalot, for me, his strength is going forward, but defensively, he has his frailties. Now, for me, one of the goals was as a result of him being high up the pitch. Now, not saying this to say that the goal directly came off his side of the pitch. No, because he was so high up the pitch, there was a counter that came down on his side. The cross came across from his side, and you know what happened? The goal scored on the opposite side of the field. But that has part to play in the goal being scored. Now, let's move on to our midfielders. Excuse me. So, Fred, not really a central defensive midfielder, but it seems as though that is the position that he's being tasked to play in this Ten Hag system. Now, before he came to United, he was a central midfielder, more of a box-to-box player. Being that we don't have a CDM outright in our squad right now, we have to put a makeshift player there. I was thinking, why not play James Garner in that position, but probably Ten Hag is saying he's not the ilk of a player that he would like, or he's too young, right? So we don't know what's the dilemma there. But let's talk about McFred. Now, Fred, yes, playing out of position, probably that is giving few reasons as to why his game was not up to standard today, which is a constant theme with Fred. I would say since the sacking of Oli, he has been one of the standout players last season, right? Because of how he was used in the Ragnick system and so on and so forth. And I see some potential in Fred, right? If he's put in the correct system, hence Brazil, where he plays for his country, right? Now, McTominay, poor game today, you know, and I'm not a big fan of McTominay. The only plus to his game is that he has a kick in him. He can strike the ball from distance, but regarding, and he's physical, right? If you look at every other aspect of his game, I would say no. He's not a player that I would want in my squad for the future. Because for me, I see a lack of creativity in his game. Also, I don't see much leadership on the pitch. They say he's a big leader and so on and so forth, right? And he hardly gets the opportunity to score that distant shot because teams have figured out Manchester United of recent, right? So for me, McTominay had a poor game and he was very invisible today. Hardly got touches on the ball, hardly made himself available for the ball. Those are qualities that you have to possess in a Ten Hag system, and I don't think he suits that system. No, Bruno Fernandes. No, I have been very disappointed with Fernandes for the past few months as a result of him he's overdoing stuff. Yes, he wants to make things happen and that's his game. But sometimes, keep it simple until the pass is on. Earlier on in the game, when he was in and around the box, he made a cross. To whom? You remember that cross he was trying to give to, was it Rashford or it was Sancho on the left side? It was an early cross. I remember that instance and I was saying, why is Bruno forcing the ball in that area? There are other passes on. Keep it simple until the space is available. And that is why I would say Eriksen has that in his locker over Bruno. He tends to keep it simple more times, and when it's on, when it's available, that's when he pings or when he sprays that killer pass. Now, Bruno has a tendency to want to always make that killer pass, and it's not always on. Now, Rashford, I'm not going to be disrespectful and call him Trashford, but his game today was full of a lot of trash, right? Now, we know Rashford of old. Rashford who takes on players. Rashford that is decisive. Rashford that is full of guile. You know, Rashford that makes things happen. We have not seen that Rashford of late. And it's disappointing because this has been the theme since before he was injured and did his surgery last year and so on and so forth. People can say, oh, he broke up with his girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. That happens. It's a part of life. We have to go through those things and we have to be able to get back to the top of things. And for me, Rashford is not there. And it has been too long because it has been a whole season of that new trash Rashford, right? And it looks as though as it will transpire this season. I'm not sure if it's the fans in the grounds who are causing the players also to be, coward and to be afraid and not to express themselves as they need to be. But Rashford, I know his potential and I know his quality, and he's not showing us that thus far this season. I know it's the first game and I don't want to jump the gun, but we are seeing the same tendencies. Now, let's move on to Mr. Sancho. Now, Sancho, for me, I believe that Ten Hag's playing style would really, maximize Sancho's potential. Very intricate in and off the ball. He creates for his teammates, and he's a person that once he's fit and ready to go, he'll make things happen. But however, today things didn't really happen much because Brighton was the dominant team today, and they didn't get much of the ball in that third of the field today because of the usual mistakes, the usual mishaps that happens with this United team. So Sancho for me, average game because of the usual stuff. Poor service from the midfield. Eriksen played false nine today. I mean, to me, he had an average game. He looked very well in patches, but you see, because there's not much good quality around him, Eriksen wasn't able to look as good as he could. So for me, that is my analysis on Eriksen. Donny came on the pitch for McTominay. Looked better in my opinion. Created space. In my opinion. But still not a full 100 and a spanking game from Van de Beek. Probably as the season progresses, we'll see what happens there. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo, boy, everybody is criticizing one of the greats of the sport, you know, and they're criticizing him that he wants to leave. But when he came on the field, he looked as though he was hungry and looked like he was ready, right? So, Marky, I wouldn't blame him for leaving, but he was one of the shining lights for United today. And I think more players should take a page out of his book. I mean, didn't really have a typical Cristiano Ronaldo game today, you know, because you know what happened. However, he showed us what we need from our players. Right, Tyrell Malacia, not much to analyze, came on very late. And was it Garnacho? So Garnacho came on as well. Not much to analyze. He came on late in the game. So yeah, that's that. So that's what I think of the players who play today. Alright, I know this video probably is a little long, but all in all, what needs to be done as quickly as possible is that the Manchester United board needs to give Ten Hag the resources to be successful, because thus far the lack of resources are showing the frailties of the team, showing the issues that we have, right? He needs De Jong. I mean, we know the De Jong situation. I won't go into that in this video, but we know, right? And possibly he may want other midfield options. Is it that Manchester United are moving too slowly to get these options? What is it, right? We need the squad to strengthen. And he wants Anthony, right? I know he's overpriced at the moment, but we need to give Ten Hag the resources. Because yet again, for me, in the past, it has been the managers who are incompetent. But right now, I know the ilk and the quality of Ten Hag. Very good manager, right? So, ladies and gentlemen out there, don't throw him under the bus after the first game. If it happens for the duration of the season, where we're seeing repetitive tendencies of stubbornness and failure to rotate the squad, then we can say, alright, probably, right? However, he needs to get the resources. He needs to get the proper scouting team, the proper players to suit his playing style. Because it's evident these players are not ready. They're not the best players to maximize what Ten Hag can produce as our manager. Maguire looks like the same old Maguire of old, right? Rashford looks like the Rashford of last season, right? Fred and McTominay, just the same. Their quality is below standard, right? So all of these things taken into consideration, ladies and gentlemen, are the major contributing factors to why the game went how it went today. And we will see more results like these, ladies and gentlemen, if there are no resources being given to our new manager. Put your say in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to